Hello and welcome back from spring break. I hope you're refreshed. And because it seems like 100 years, let's just review where we're at. This week, the final draft of your narrative is due. So hopefully you got some valuable feedback. Let's not underestimate how important feedback is. So let me just share the screen. We'll look at that assignment. People have been working on it, sending me bits and pieces. Here it is. It's instructions with text reference. Remember, at some point during this narrative, you're going to explain how one of your ideas about this experience or story has to do with one of the texts that we've read. And you're going to use the MLA format in which you, in the TED Talk, The Danger of a Single Story by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, she discusses da-da-da-da. So that's MLA, where you just make it very clear what the reference is so that we can track it and then tie in to part of your discussion. Oh, okay. So anyway, that's happening on Wednesday. So that's going to be due Wednesday. And then just so you know, the next few weeks after that are going to be the research paper. And on the research paper, there's going to be no lateness involved where I say, oh, I'm going to drop the lateness, because there's going to be, the instructions are going to be your guide as usual, and you all do very well with that. And then instead of a rough draft being mandatory, it's optional. So you can go back and forth with me and ask questions or submit a paragraph. And then the week after, you're going to provide evidence that you've gone to the writing center or a tutor, or just sought some kind of outside input of someone who has read your paper, or you've read your paper out loud, or you've given a very specific section of your paper to someone. Anyway, so the research paper, there's plenty of time to be working on it for a couple of weeks. So on that, and it comes close to the end of the semester. So make sure that you just take a glance at that. So we've got the narrative Wednesday, then comes the research paper, and then just a couple more kind of lighter, fun assignments. Okay. So, and in the meantime, of course, we'll always be reading and answering questions or writing or posting about what we're reading and what it all means. We're going to figure out what it all means because we're aiming high. All right. So I look forward to your narratives. And remember, when one comes in, I will, I will be putting them in the notes. So make sure that you're not discussing things that you don't want to be public. And I think I may have said this before. I mean, don't discuss crimes you've committed. We don't want that, because then I'm under some kind of obligation, which I don't want to know. So anyway, so just so you know, if for some reason you really don't want anyone to read it, just put a note on there and let me know. Otherwise, it's kind of helpful for other people. And this in a class, if we were in a class together, we would see and hear more of each other's work. And you did see it on the posts where people were going, but you didn't see it in its final organizational form, where it takes shape as a story with impact. Remember, one of the keys to narrating something is to take out parts that don't matter. Details that are just for detail's sake. They don't really contribute to the story. We need the chronology, the setting. We need to know who you are, what age you are, what the circumstances, what the setting is. I mean, people need to be oriented to what's happening. You imagine that the person doesn't know you at all. And then beyond that, you just have to be careful that you don't try to tell every story, or that you try to tell everything about a story, because it's a little impossible. And that's where revision comes in handy, and you kind of feel it out and see where you're going with it. Okay, so that's this week. And then we're moving into the narrative. I mean, into the research paper, and that is a little bit longer, and it's the guidelines are a little more strict, and you'll have plenty of time to work that through. And it shouldn't be too hard. It's very similar to the first paper with kind of prescribed extra parts. Okay, so it should lead to very interesting discussions and examples from you. All right, so welcome back, and let's kind of shake it off, the haze of vacation, and let's get back in business. Take care. Hope you're having a good week. Narratives due on Wednesday.